Know how angry you are, and I know what you're angry about. I'm going to end tonight, as I always aim to, on a positive note. But let's start with this.
What I didn't know is that it would hurt so much. I didn't expect this to break my heart. For him to cast a dark shadow on our most sacred right.
What a total charlatan, casting a dark shadow over our most sacred right. You mean like this?
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
I've created an illegitimacy clock. It's on my website. If you look at it, it tells you how many days and hours Donald Trump has been illegitimate as president.
For 4 years, they plotted and schemed to undermine and overturn the sacred right of American democracy. For 4 years, they smeared the duly elected president and his supporters. Not my president, they screamed, not my president. 4 years on, still they're at it, still they parade their reckless, condescending intolerance.
I'm not going to say that 50% of Americans are racist and sexist and homophobic, but I will say that that tells me that they will look the other way to that kind of behavior, to the plight of their fellow Americans, if personally they feel that they are doing okay and that they will do better under that type of presidency. And that, I think, is despicable. It is un-American.
From deplorable to despicable. 4 years of non-stop hate. And now they want the Americans they dismiss and demean to just roll over and pay homage to the new regime. No, no, no. They go on about democratic norms and how Trump is undermining them. Right, let's follow their example. Let's uphold their norms, Democrat norms.
Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances.
Under any circumstances. Now, I wouldn't go that far. Refusing to concede under any circumstances would be an attempted coup. That may be a Democrat norm, but it's certainly not a democratic one. So let's agree this. And how could any reasonable person not agree? Every legal vote should be counted. No illegal vote should be counted. Any evidence of fraud or irregularity should be brought forward and the courts should adjudicate. That's what the president said. That's what Mitt Romney said. It's even what Biden said.
It ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted.
Every election has some level of fraud, irregularity, error. Usually it doesn't affect the outcome. But when it's this close, this important, with this many late changes to the rules, of course we should investigate thoroughly. Not just for the sake of seeing our chosen candidate win, but for the sake of faith in our system. We've just made a massive change to that system with very little planning and very little scrutiny. It looks like it's here to stay. So it is essential to have a proper understanding of what happened. That's not just in President Trump's interest, it's in the Republican Party's interest, and it's in America's interest. And by the way, everyone knows that if the positions were reversed, every single Democrat, every Biden propagandist on CNN and NBC and everywhere else would be telling Biden to fight and fight and fight to the end. So we can do without the lectures about undermining democracy from the people who did nothing but that for 4 years with their Russia conspiracy, who tried to derail a presidency with endless investigations, pseudo-scandals and a phony impeachment. But we can also do without false hopes being raised. Trump supporters have been through a lot. Of course we want that Trump second term, but do not give us false hope that it can still be achieved if in fact it cannot. We want the Trump second term because of the success of the first, on the substance, on its results, one of the most successful in history. We laid that out for you last week in our closing argument. But I've said a number of times that real power in politics is not the office you hold. Everyone loses that eventually. It's not even the policies you implement. They can be reversed, and usually are. Real power is when you change the way people think. That lasts way beyond your time in office, way beyond your lifetime. Hardly any political leaders achieve that. In my lifetime, I can only think of 3. When I was growing up in the UK, Margaret Thatcher, who led the free market revolution. Here in America, Ronald Reagan, who defeated the Soviet Empire. And now we can add a third, Donald Trump. On issue after issue, China, manufacturing, the Middle East, open borders, endless war, Trump challenged and defeated a 50-year establishment consensus. The neocons defeated, the globalists defeated, their ideology gone, replaced by Donald Trump's new conservative populism. Yes, Trumpism. Pro-business on tax and regulation, pro-worker on trade and immigration. This is a towering achievement, recognized this week through gritted teeth by Trump's enemies right across the spectrum. From progressives like Jamel Bouie in the New York Times, to mainstream Democrats like Claire McCaskill, to never-Trumpers like Andrew Sullivan, who wrote, Trump's core message was seared into one of our major political parties for the foreseeable future and realigned American politics. That realignment is real. Winning nearly a third of Latinos, record levels with black men, doubling support from black women, higher with LGBT Americans, working class Americans, Jewish Americans, Muslim Americans, over half of Native Americans. The highest share of the non-white vote for 60 years. President Trump has turned the Republican Party into a modern, multiracial, working class coalition. That is a historic shift. A once-in-a-century shift. Meanwhile, Trump has helped turn the Democrats into the party of the coastal and urban elite. Look where Biden got his support. Wall Street, lawyers, professors. All of this gave Biden huge advantages. He had big money, over twice as much as the president, but he had something else money can't buy. The alliance of bias, big media and big tech. An early study found that big media is over 90% negative about Trump. By the election, it looked like 100%. How could that not suppress the vote? How could their polls, Washington Post and ABC, with Biden 17% ahead in Wisconsin, how could that not suppress the vote? Big tech suppressing the message, suppressing information that could hurt Biden. Trump had the entire establishment against him. They were salivating over what they called the Great Repudiation. Well, it didn't happen.
We wanted to see a repudiation of this direction for the country. And the fact that it's this close, I think, it hurts.
Republicans won in the Senate, won seats in the House, won state legislatures. The Trump haters say that shows voters wanted Republicans, but not Trump. But compare these results with 2018, when it was Republicans on the ballot without Trump. Then there really was a blue wave. Not this year. It was Trump who saved the Senate, Trump winning seats in the House, Trump getting those state houses back. If Biden is eventually certified, he'll have no mandate. No mandate on policy. He never talked about his policies. No mandate even for his mask mandate. Trump won the places where the virus is worst. Latinos, black Americans, working Americans. They chose Trump recovery, not Biden shutdown. And if anyone tries any of that, I'm telling you now, here on this show, we will resist, resist, resist. Yes, we're the home of positive populism, pro-worker, pro-family, pro-community, and pro-America. But if there is any retreat to establishment rule, whether from Democrats or Republicans like Lindsey Graham or Liz Cheney, we will be the home of the peaceful resistance. In this election, Donald Trump confounded the pollsters and the snooty establishment once again, this time with his promises delivered, his record established, his fight against woke supremacy. When you consider the forces ranged against him, while it may yet be a political victory, there is absolutely no doubt at all that he won a moral victory, and one that will endure for generations.